This is me in high school. Back then, I didn't know where I was going to college, if I'd even like computer science, and if I'd have a great job after graduation. And frankly, I just feel like so much has changed in my life in the past 5 years. So I decided if I had the chance to go back and talk to that me from 5 years ago about what to expect and what was coming up in my own life and everything I would learn, this is what I would say. One of the biggest things I worried about in high school was that I was going to be way out of my depth at a top college, given that I went to a pretty average public school. I remember feeling like I'd probably just be happy to be middle of the road, average at college, let alone having a 4.0, and I also wasn't really sure what kind of internship and job prospects I was going to have. Of course, I'd heard the stories from people saying they'd got their dream job from a top tech company, but it's kind of hard to mentally put yourself into those people's shoes and realize that you too could be one of those people. But what I learned is that it doesn't matter where you went to high school, because if you have your priorities straight and you put in the hard work every single day, you can do well even at a top college. Given how competitive these top schools are, what I realized is if they're letting you in, that generally means you can cut it, because if you were borderline or you couldn't cut it there's thousands of other people that they would have let in instead. Now, that's not always easy to remember, especially when it comes to something like imposter syndrome. I remember semester after semester just waiting to hit my limit and to finally fall behind, to expose myself as an imposter, and it never happened. And for internships and jobs, it's pretty much the exact same thing. You work hard to build a strong resume, you make sure it's polished and proofread, and you start applying pretty much every day to all the new positions coming on Glassdoor or Indeed or LinkedIn, and then you put in hours upon hours of prep to make sure that when you do get an interview, you can make it count. It's not gonna be easy. There's gonna be classes that are a complete nightmare, and there's also gonna be a ton of companies that reject you flat out without even giving you the chance to prove yourself, but you just gotta keep working and make it happen. For some background, I started coding in my sophomore year of high school, and since my school didn't really have much of a computer science program, I was mostly self-taught in C++ and Objective-C. And in terms of the handful of people at my high school who did code, I was pretty good, and that gave me a bit of a false sense of security in terms of the knowledge I was coming in with, when in reality I knew virtually nothing. It's an example of that thing where you don't know enough yet to know everything you don't know, and that became pretty apparent my freshman year when I saw all the courses I was going to be taking, and it became apparent that I probably had enough knowledge to get me through my intro course in Python, if that, and that was pretty much it. After having finished college, it feels even more obvious of just how little I know about the field, because for every new thing I get exposed to, it seems like there's 10 new rabbit holes that open up of other things that I should be exploring. It's not like the past 3 years of learning how to code were a complete waste. Learning the fundamentals and the basics was definitely useful when I came into college, but if you think you're an expert when you're coming in, unless you're really, truly an expert, then you're probably in for a bit of a wake-up call. On my first day of freshman year of college, I knew exactly 0 people. 0. Where I went to high school, a lot of people ended up going to a local college or Penn State or Pitt, and there was something slightly terrifying about this idea of going somewhere where I didn't know anyone for the first time since I started kindergarten. Statistically speaking, Georgia Tech was my best option, and I loved it when I visited, but the easy thing to do would have been to pick a school that just felt safe, where I'd already have a couple of friends, the classes would probably be a little less intense, and I would just be closer to my home and my family. Deciding to do the hard thing though, and go outside of my comfort zone, was probably one of the best things that could have ever happened to me. It's generally pretty hard to get a fresh start in life, but I was really able to leave everything behind in Pennsylvania, embarrassing stories and all, and just focus on being who I wanted to be at college without any of that extra baggage following me around. Now, I didn't change my name and become a completely different person, obviously, but it gave me an opportunity that I wouldn't have had at some of those other schools. I also discovered that there were a lot of other people who were in the exact same boat as me. Everyone else was just starting college for the first time and was trying to make friends, and it wasn't like being the one new kid at school where everyone else already knows each other. So if you're on the fence about going somewhere a little bit different, where you don't know anyone and maybe it's a little bit scary, really think about it, because I'm definitely glad that I did. I said it in another video, and I'll say it again. I spent most of my college years chasing a 4.0 without stopping to think about what I was learning and getting out of college, because that number felt like everything. I went from having that initial expectation of being average at college to protecting my 4.0 at all costs after I got it in my first semester, and that seriously influenced the trajectory of my college years. It changes the classes you choose, from the professors to the electives, and it influences how much time you're willing to dedicate to things like side projects or clubs, or just enjoying college. For a long time, college felt less about preparing me for my career and more so as an opportunity for me to prove to companies that I was hardworking and intelligent and smart, because I could show them this grade. Now, I don't want to completely write off the importance of GPAs because obviously there's a reason why they exist, and I do know for a fact that it helped me to land my first internship before I had any real experience, but there's a difference between trying to maintain a strong GPA and turning it into an obsession. It's something I realized too late in college, and that's why I generally take every opportunity I can get to drive that point home, because it's something I wish someone had told me back when I started college. Alright, I know there's a bunch of things I skimmed over, so if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Anyways, that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.